Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yakumullah. You're welcome. How's everyone doing today?
Alhamdulillah.
Irfan, where are the others? Okay. Marzuq and Irfan. And Grandma. No other person? Where are they? Where is Tahmid today? All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin ma ba'd. So inshallah ta'ala, we're going to continue with our conversation yesterday where we are discussing about the rulings of Ramadan. And yesterday we discussed about when does Ramadan becomes an obligation, and with regards to timing, and also when does it becomes an obligation upon a person with regards to the condition. And we said يجب صوم رمضان على كل مسلم مكلف قادر. Fasting of Ramadan is compulsory upon every Muslim mukallaf. Always, and when they say mukallaf, it means mukallaf has two things: aqilun, baligun aqil. When they say somebody is mukallaf, somebody has reached the stage of obligation, the stage at which the person is now under the obligation and command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is when the person reaches the age of puberty and also has his mental sense intact as well. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, so a Muslim who has reached the age of puberty, whose mental sense is intact and qadir, and now has the ability of fasting. So if any of these conditions is missing, then we look at it. What is the way out? What way out has the Sharia given to this person, and what ruling has the Sharia given to this person? However, this is the full condition that has to be present in a person whom we would say fasting of Ramadan is compulsory upon. So yesterday we said, وَمَنْ أَفْطَرَ لِكِبَرٍ. And also, we also briefly yesterday we said that Ramadan is also compulsory. You know, when a person has reached the point where Ramadan, they have met all the conditions of Ramadan. So is it that they can just fast Ramadan at any time? No. Then there's a time in which Ramadan comes. So when that time comes, then it is compulsory for them to start fasting. And we said this time is when the moon for Ramadan has been sighted. So we said it is either a month is either 30 or 29. If the moon is not sighted on 29, then the Sha'ban is counted to 30. Then automatically the next day after the 30th of Sha'ban becomes the first of Ramadan. Now, and we also said yesterday that if a person sights the crescent for Ramadan, we also said it is not a condition that everybody sights the crescent. As long as one person who is trustworthy sights the crescent and informs the Amir, then the Amir can tell every other person to start fasting, and everybody start fasting. It's not a condition that we all see the crescent at the same time. However, if a person sights the crescent and goes to the Amir and informs the Amir that, yeah, Amir, I sight the crescent for Ramadan, and it was not accepted from the person. Maybe the person is not trustworthy, the Amir does not trust the person. Now, in the case of this person now, he himself, Ramadan becomes compulsory upon him to start because he has cited a crescent and he has a clear knowledge that the crescent of Ramadan has been cited. However, for the Amir that does not accept it and does not announce that to the general public, that's another thing entirely. It is not yet compulsory for them because they haven't cited. And the person that said is cited, they did not trust the person, so they remain on their own counting of Sha'ban. However, for this person himself who sighted the moon, he has to start fasting. And the reverse the case in the case of a person who sights the moon of Shawwal, and goes to the Amir that, yeah, Amir, I sight the moon of Shawwal. Perhaps you tell people to stop fasting, that tomorrow is Eid. And the Amir says, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust you, perhaps due to something or something. So Shawwal, we won't say this person now should break his own fast the second day. He should, no. This person should remain fasting the month of Ramadan. Why? Because starting of fast is permissible by the what is it called? It's permissible by the witness of one trustworthy person. However, when it comes to breaking fast and announcing the Shawwal, then it has to be two trustworthy persons, and so on and so forth, of what scholars used to explain. Now ومن أفطر لكبر أو مرض لا يرجى برؤه أطعم لكل يوم مسكينا. He said, anybody who breaks his fast likibarin due to who is not able to fast, does not fast likibarin due to old age, أو مرض لا يرجى برؤه, or for a sickness, for a chronic sickness in which the cure of that sickness is not, by human calculation, the cure of that sickness is not expected. Even next year, the person will continue being in that state of sickness next 2 years. So perhaps forever, the person might not be able to fast. So everybody, please give me some time. I want to go and pray. So that will be good. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Hello.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, is my voice clear, please?
It's not yours. I don't want you to break it.
Am I clear?
Yes.
All right. All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As I was saying,
Maybe I'll call you guys and talk to me about it. You don't get in trouble.
all right, as I was saying, everybody, ومن أفطر لكبر أو مرض لا يرجى برؤه أطعم لكل مسكين. Now, there are some instances whereby the Sharia has allowed a person to miss out on fast. And these instances, there can be one or two options according to what the Sharia permitted, depending on the situation. There is an instance in which the Sharia excuses a person not to fast from fasting and from fasting in Ramadan and allows them to feed a needy person for each day they fast without having to pay back the fast. And there is another condition whereby the Sharia excuses a person from fasting during Ramadan because they can't fast during that time. However, allows them to repay back the fasts. You can get it two difference now. Can anyone repeat that for me?
There's a condition where you don't make up the fast, but you have to feed a needy person for each day that you miss, and then the other condition is you just make up the fast after.
Yeah, other condition, you have to make up the fast, but you don't have to feed a needy person. So the condition whereby you have to make up the fast, you have to feed a needy person is the condition whereby a person is not fasting, is not able to fast due to old age or a chronic sickness, more like a permanent sickness. إذا كان الإنسان عاجزا عن الصوم عجزا دائما. Now, this has to be a permanent inability. All right, عجزا دائما. So because old age, once a person is old, they are old. The person is not getting younger. So if a person could not fast this year due to old age, there's a likelihood that next year will be much more, even they won't be able to fast because they'll get older. And also a sickness, a permanent sickness that in our own human analysis, it is likely that this person will continue on this sickness. The ability, the incapability to fast will continue. So when a person have a constant incapability in this situation, إما لكبر سن أو لمرض لا يرجى برؤه فإن له الفطر ولا قضاء عليه ولكن عليه الإطعام عن كل يوم مسكينا. In this situation, on old age or a permanent sickness which makes a person becomes permanently incapable of fasting, then the Sharia has given this person the opportunity to what? To feed a needy person for each day of their fast without having to pay back the fast. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Are you with me, everybody?
Yes.
Tahmid has not arrived yet.
He did.
He's here.
Oh, I cannot see you. Tahmid, Wainak.
He said, "Where are you?"
I'm
right here. He's in the corner.
Because all right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who among you who are unable to do it, who are unable to fast, then it is upon them to feed a poor person. Now, And also, Ibn Mas'ud, Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu said, ليست بمنسوخة هو الشيخ الكبير والمرأة الكبيرة لا يستطيعان أن يصوما فيطعمان مكان كل يوم مسكينة. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu, he said, the verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala excused an old person, a man or a woman, a male or a female, and allow them to feed a needy person for each day of their missed fast without paying back the fast, the fast was never abrogated. ولأن الفطر إذا جاز للمريض فلأن يجوز للعاجز بطريق أولى. Why? Why are we saying it is because some people argue that that verse where Allah excused the old people was abrogated, but it was not, because even if a sick person has been excused from fasting, although asked to pay back the fast, then it is much more important for an old person who is not even capable of fasting at all, not today or not tomorrow. Exactly, everybody. Are you following me, please? Now, when we say al-it'am, what is the feeding? أن يعطي كل مسكينا مد بر أو نصف صاع من غيره. Now the feeding has to be a mud. What is it called? During the time, they said if this feeding has to be a mud of bur, of grain, or half of a sa' from another thing other than that. However, العلة المطلوب مقدار الكفاية من أوسط ما يطعم الناس وهذا مقدار الكفاية. However, it is quite difficult for us to, want to measure with all these things today. But the most important thing, the point here is that feeding the needy in the place of your fast, if you fall under that category, what is expected of you is that feed the needy with exactly what you know that is sufficient or even more for the person. You know the context which you live in, the needy you are calling to feed, you know the context of a person, you know what the cultural thing around your place, so give the person exactly what you know that for this kind of a person, this is what will fit them, this is what is will be sufficient for them, or even more than that. Is that clear now?
Yes.
وَسُنَّ لِمَرِيدٍ يَضُرُّهُ. Now, يسن الفطر لأصناف is a sick person. First one is the person whose sickness gives to fast. But this second sick person now is not a permanent one. It's a person who is gonna, get much better in some days. Someone who has a serious headache, someone who has malaria, someone who has flu, fever, and so on and so forth. That's something different. So this kind of a sick person and a traveler, okay, this kind of a sick person and a traveler, it is a sunnah, it is an act of sunnah, it is recommended, it is encouraged for them to break their fast during Ramadan, having it at the back of their mind that what they are going to repay the fast after Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Whoever amongst you is sick or takes a journey, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. So he has to return back his fasting of the days which has been missed. Are you following me, everyone?
Yeah.
Now, so from the Sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ said, لَيْسَ مِنَ الْبِرِّ الصَّوْمُ فِي السَّفَرِ. It is not from the act of righteousness for a person to fast while traveling. It is not from the act of righteousness for a person to fast while traveling. And of course, we can also talk about for a person to fast while they are sick, because it's the same thing. It's traveling and being sick. It's a state of a weakness on its own. So the Prophet ﷺ said it's not an act of righteousness to fast during this situation again. Now, we have to note that it is not an act of righteousness here that the Prophet ﷺ is saying. It is not that it makes it haram for a person who fasts. It is just that the Prophet ﷺ is encouraging that when a person is sick and when a person is traveling, Allah has given you the rukhsah. Allah has given you the ease, the opportunity. Allah has given you that, like a coupon to use when you are buying something. So use it and don't overstress yourself, most especially when it's going to harm you. Are you following me? And why did they say this? It is because, why did they say it is encouraged? Why did they say it is encouraged? It is because it is because that's easier for them. When a person is fasting and they leave, when a person is traveling or when a person is sick and they leave out fasting and they take the rukhsah, the ease of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that gives them, that makes it easier for them. Are you following me? And also, when a person leaves fasting while traveling, that is them regarding and respecting the ease that Allah has given to them. Is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
And also, Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, ما خير رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين أمرين إلا أخذ أيسرهما ما لم يكن إثما. So this is a general rule now. Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has never been given choice between two things, except that he is going to choose the easier one. ما لم يكن إثما. As long as the easier one amongst the two choices does not consist or does not involve sin. Are you following me, everybody?
No.
So, and this should be a general rule for everybody, every one of us, not just fasting alone or when we are sick or when we are traveling and want to fast or not want to fast. Generally, if you have to do either one or two things, go for the easier one, as long as it's not going to bring harm later on and it does not involve sinning and disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And also, ليس من البر الصوم في السفر. Now, وقوله وإن وحاذر صوم يوم ثم سافر في أثنائه فله الفطر. If a person, or we have established now that fasting, leaving out fast during traveling is what? Is what, everybody?
Encourage.
What is Marzuk saying?
Encouraged.
It is encouraged. It is encouraged. Okay, I thought I heard incorrect. Astaghfirullah. So it is sunnah to break fast when a person is fasting. We have established that. Now, a person who is not fasting, we already know that a person who is not traveling has to fast as long as they meet the condition being a Muslim, mukallaf, qadir. And if they break the fast intentionally without, then that's a great sin, which you have to seek tawbah for Allah to forgive them. Now, we know that already. But a person who is fasting is not a traveler, you sit at home, but they have an emergency case, for example, and they have to travel during the day while they are fasting. Once they start traveling, and once they come under the condition of a traveler, then this person has the choice to also take the rukhsah of a traveler by breaking their fast and repaying it back later, inshallah ta'ala. Why do we say this? Hadith Jabir radiyallahu anhu أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خرج عام الفتح إلى مكة في رمضان فصام حتى بلغ قراع الغميم فصام الناس ثم دعا بقدح من ماء فرفعه نظر الناس إليه ثم شرب صلى الله عليه وسلم. Few seconds, please. Are you all following me, please? Are you all gaining?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. لا إله إلا الله. Now, why do we say that if a person starts traveling, if a person starts fasting as a non-traveler and they start traveling, they can decide to break their fast? This is because on an occasion, the Prophet ﷺ traveled with the companions in the Am al-Fatih, in the year of al-Fatih. Have we heard about Am al-Fatih?
No. Oh wait, isn't that the year they were going back to Mecca?
Fathu Mecca. Fathu Mecca.
Yes.
That is the 10th. That is the 10th of Ramadan, in the 8th of that's the 10th of Ramadan, in the 8th year of Hijrah. All right, the 10th day of Ramadan in the 8th year of Hijrah, Am al-Fatih, where Fathu Mecca happened, when the Mecca was what? Mecca was opened and released, and what? And mashallah, tabarakallah, the Muslims dominated Mecca. Have we heard the story around that, everybody?
No. What story?
Okay, inshallah. The Fathu Mecca.
But like a specific part or just the whole thing?
No, the whole thing, I mean.
Yes, but
Okay. Okay, no problem. Inshallah, we're gonna discuss it for those who haven't heard it. So anyway, the Prophet ﷺ and the companion traveled on the Am al-Fatih. So when they were going on the Am al-Fatih, the Prophet ﷺ was fasting before he left Medina. حتى بلغ قراع الغيم, until they reached a place called قراع الغيم, غميم, قراع الغميم, and people were fasting as well, alongside with the Prophet ﷺ. Then the Prophet ﷺ called for a pot of water, and the Prophet ﷺ, he drank from this pot of water, meaning he broke his fast. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So here we understood that when a person starts fasting in the morning, as somebody who is not traveling and they needed to travel, as once they come under the condition of a traveler, then they can take the rukhsah, the ease that Allah has given to the traveler. وَلِأَنَّهُ الْآنَ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَالسَّفَرُ مُبِيحٌ لِلْفِطْرِ فَأَبَاحَهُ فِي أَثْنَاءِ النَّهَارِ كَالْمَرِيضِ. Now, وكذلك يباح للمسافر أن يفطر في سفره سواء دخل عليه رمضان وهو مسافر أو سافر في أثناء الليل وأدركه النهار حال سفر. يباح للمسافر أن يفطر في سفره. Now, that's what we have explained. Now, وإن أفطرت حامل أو مرضع. Now we want to talk about the breaking of fasting of a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman. A pregnant woman, is she allowed not to fast? A breastfeeding woman, is she allowed not to fast? If she's allowed not to fast, is she supposed to repay back the fast, or she shouldn't repay back the fast? Okay? Are you following me, everyone?
Yes.
A few seconds. Marzouk, are you with us, or you are sleeping?
I'm with you.
Why?
Although I don't sit here.
No, that's not.
All right. Now, we want to talk about uh, Ramadan, the ruling of a pregnant woman and a breastfeeding woman when it comes to fasting or leaving out fasting. They said, وَإِنْ أَفْطَرَتْ حَامِلٌ أَوْ مُرْضِعٌ. Now let's bring out one benefit of one. Let's revise one thing we have learned in our language class. Afterot here is aftara, which means he broke his fast, right? And that is for a male, right? Irfan, Marzouk, are you guys there?
Yes.
Aftara. And when I say afterot, she broke her fast. That's for a female, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
However, this hamilun is a fa'il, is the doer of the action. So why am I, and this hamilun here, is it mudhakkar or muannas?
Mudhakkar.
Mudhakkar, because it does not end with ata marbuta. However, why did they now use afterot, which means she broke her fast? For hamilun, the doer of action, why the doer is mudhakkar? Is that not a mistake?
No.
Okay, what do you think happened there? Anyone can guess? What did you say?
Like different tense, like a past tense.
Okay, fine. The reason why they use afterot, which means she broke her fast, and hamilun is what? Hamilun is masculine. So what they should have used here is aftara, because hamil, which is the doer of action, is masculine. So they should say aftara, like qara'a, he read, qara'at, she read. So qara'a Zaydun and qara'at Fatimatu. So now they should have been used ta here. Why? It is because hamilun here might not end with ta marbuta. However, the reality of hamil is a female, is a muannath. Does a man get pregnant? No.
No.
That is why hamilun is what? Is only for a female. So hamil. So it's used for a female. So we don't need to say hamilatun so that we can know that it's a female. Nobody gets pregnant except a woman. And also murdi'. We could have said murdi'atun, but they use murdi' here because no one breastfeeds except a woman. So that is why the verb has to come in a feminine way. Aftarat, hamilun, or aw murdi'un. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes.
All right. So وَإِنْ أَفْطَرَتْ حَامِلٌ أَوْ مُرْضِعٌ خَوْفًا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمَا قَضَتَاهُ فَقَطْ وَعَلَى وَلَدَيْهِمَا قَضَتَا وَأَطْعَمَتَا لِكُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. They said, if a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman or a breastfeeding mother, if they break their fast in Ramadan, did not fast in Ramadan, or they broke the fast, because they are afraid of themselves. They are afraid because they are afraid of their own personal health. The woman themselves, the pregnant woman herself, or the breastfeeding woman herself, she is afraid of her own self that something might happen to me if I continue this fasting. Then what will happen is that they are going to repay the fast. They can break the fast and repay the fast later. Is that okay? So what we are saying here now is that Sharia permits, aside from a traveler or a sick person or an old person, Sharia also permits a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding mother who is afraid that something might happen if she continues fasting. Sharia permits them to also break their fast so that they can what? They can repay the fast after Ramadan has gone. Is this clear, everybody?
Yes.
However, there is another condition. They said, if a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman left fasting, not because she's afraid of herself. If left to her, she can fast. She doesn't have a problem. She has the strength to fast. However, she left fasting maybe because a doctor's advice that if you fast, something might happen to this child. So you shouldn't fast. This child needs a lot of nutrients, and by you fasting, you might not get to the child as much as the nutrient the child needs. So this woman is not fasting because of the child, not because of her own self, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, in this situation, they said, even though she has to repay back the fast, however, in this situation whereby she is not fasting just because of the child, she also has to feed a needy person for each day. Although scholars have differences on this, however, this is the opinion of the Hanabila school of thought. Is that clear now, everybody?
Yes.
Now, having said that, وأما عدم وجود كفارة فلأن الفطر لمرض لا كفارة فيه، وأما القضاء فلعموم قوله تعالى فعدة من أيام. Okay, now أن تخاف فيجوز الفطر ويجب القضاء ولا كفارة بل عليهما القضاء. So now, having said that, we already know those whom the Sharia has permitted to break their fast and pay it back again. However, one of them, let's take ourselves back. One of them is permitted to break his fast without repaying it back. Who is that?
The one who they suffer from a sickness or like old age that won't allow them to fast like ever again.
Exactly. The only person among all these people whom the Sharia permitted, the only person among all the people whom the Sharia permitted to leave out fasting and repay it back, leave out fasting during Ramadan, and they only have to feed for each day they miss without repaying it back, is an old person and also a permanently sick person. Every other person, even though they can leave out their fasting, however, they have to repay it back. However, there's also a different ruling for a woman or a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding mother who is afraid, who left fasting not because of herself, but because of the child. They said she should, even though she's going to repay back the fasting, however, she should also feed for each day of fasting because she didn't leave fasting for herself. She left it for the child, and with all the differences of opinion of the scholars, Allah Alam, but something is certain. Scholars are something is certain, repaying back the fast of the woman in any case it is. Now, another thing we are going to talk about, وَمَنْ نَوَى الصَّوْمَ ثُمَّ جُنَّ أو أغمي عليه جميع النهار ولم يفق جزءا من لم يصح صومه لا إن نام جميع النهار. Whoever intends to fast Ramadan ثم جن أو أغمي عليه جميع النهار ولم يفق جزءا من لم يصح صومه. Somebody now, for example, tomorrow is Ramadan. As Muslims, it is automatic. It is automatic that we have intended that tomorrow we are fasting Ramadan. Now, after the breaking of the Fajr, they call the Adhan, and everybody abstain from food and every other thing that breaks fast. This person, may Allah safeguard each and every one of us, this person run mad.
Wow.
We said one of the conditions that make fasting obligatory upon a person is what? Being mentally what?
Mentally stable.
being mentally stable. So a mad person now, fasting is not obligatory upon him until he becomes mentally stable. Or a person who has lost consciousness totally, fasting is not compulsory upon the person until they are mentally stable. Or a child who is not, who hasn't reached who has not matured yet, or a non-Muslim. Fasting is not acceptable from them until they what? Until they become a Muslim. And that an example like that. So somebody who intend fasting, a person who intend fasting, and after the Fajr breaks and the fasting started, this person run mad or this person fainted totally. And unfortunately, this person fainted and run mad the whole of the day until the what? Until the sun sets and everybody breaks their fast. Would the intention count that the person has fasted? No. It won't be counted that the person has fasted. However, if this person wake up at any time during the day before the sunrise, because this person had an intention of fasting on that day, then the scholar said the fasting of the person is going to be counted as they are fasted on that day. Wow. Now, did you see the what is it called? Do we all see the importance and the power of intention now, everybody? Are you following me, everybody? Is it very clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, النية الإمساك عن المفطرات هما ركن الصيام, because they said the two pillars of fasting, number one is intention. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. If you don't have the intention for fasting and you just find yourself fasting, then that's not fasting. While imsak, and also abstaining from everything that breaks fasting. فإذا سقطت النية لم يصح الصوم. When intention is not there, fasting is not correct. ولو بقي الإمساك, even though if a person abstains with regard to Ramadan. Of course, when it's not Ramadan, for example, a person has not eaten anything since morning, and maybe by 11 a.m. they were like, I haven't eaten anything. I'm gonna turn it to Ramadan. I'm gonna turn it to fasting. If this is Sunnah fasting, it's permissible. However, Ramadan, no. You have to have the intention of Ramadan the whole of the day, from before the what? Before the dawn till what? Till the sunset. وحينها نقول ما يعرض للعقل مما يكون به زوال أي العقل بالنسبة للصوم له ثلاثة أحلام جنون وإغماء ونوم. So three things during the day of fasting, when it comes to mental stability, three things can happen when it comes to consciousness. With regards to consciousness, human consciousness, it is either one or three of three conditions. It is either madness. May Allah safeguard each and every one of us.
Amen.
A person either loses consciousness due to madness. لو أن الإنسان نوى الصوم ثم قبل طلوع الفجر جن ولم يفق إلا بعد غروب الشمس فإن صومه لا يصح. So in this case, if a person intends to fast, that Ramadan, tomorrow is Ramadan, Monday, I'm going to fast, and just before the Fajr sets and fasting starts, this person run mad, and this person did not become conscious until the sun sets and everybody break their fast. The intention of this person is not going to be beneficial, because this person is not regarded as any person. He has not fasted any part of the day at all. The second thing that could happen to the consciousness of a person is al-ighma. A person could faint. إذا أغمي عليه طوال النهار فلا يصح صومه. So if a person faints the whole of the day, from the Fajr time, from the Fajr sets till the sunset, from the time the fasting starts until the fasting ends, this person did not have consciousness for any seconds of this time. Rather, they run mad or they fainted. the intention of this person carries no weight. It is not going to benefit them, and the fasting, and it is not regarded that they are fast. So, which means they have to repay fasting after Ramadan. Another thing that could affect consciousness is sleeping. Sleeping. لو نام كل النهار فيصح صومه. If a person sleeps, for example, now, tomorrow is 1st of Ramadan, right? Okay, no problem. I'm going to fast. You have the intention. And immediately you finish eating sahur, or you do not even eat sahur. You have the intention that tomorrow Ramadan, I'm fasting Ramadan. You do not even eat sahur. Even though that is not recommended, you should eat sahur. So this person now slept from dawn, from Fajr, when the fasting starts, until sunset. He did not wake up a second. Even though that is not, there is a lot wrong with such a fast. Because the person does not pray Fajr, does not pray Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Till Maghrib. And this person woke up by Maghrib in order to, break their fast. Even though there's a lot of things wrong with this kind of fast. But we are saying now that if what happens to a person that they did not witness any part of the day of Ramadan, or they did not have their consciousness in any part of the day of Ramadan, as long as it is sleep that causes that unconsciousness, then the fasting is what? The fasting is correct as long as they have the intention. However, if the reason why a person does not witness any part of the day during Ramadan, from the Fajr time till the sunset, if the reason is madness or being faint, then the intention won't benefit them. The fasting is not correct. They have to repay back the fast later. What if a person runs mad, they have the intention of fasting on Monday, Ramadan, on Monday, and after they eat Fajr, after the person, what is it called? After the person eats sahur, he ran mad or he fainted until Salat al-Asr. And after Salat al-Asr, this person regained consciousness. And, they were normal until sunset. Then, as long as they did not break their fast with any other thing, with anything after regaining consciousness, then, and they remain abstinence, they remain in their intention of fasting until sunset, then this person, the fasting counts for this person. However, in all of the situation, if it is sleeping that causes lack of consciousness the whole of the day of Ramadan, then as long as the person has the intention of fasting on that day, then it is accepted for them as fasting. Why? Because if sleeping is not accepted as fasting, maybe, for example, a person will eat sahur, the Fajr enters by 5 o'clock, and maybe you finish eating your own sahur by 4:55. So, and you slept immediately. It's not even officially the fasting time have not started. You slept 5 minutes to the fasting time, and you did not wake up until sunset. You had Allahu Akbar, Allah. You say, what is that? Maghrib. Really? You did not wake up. Then your fasting is correct. However, there is a lot of things wrong. You did not pray. That's wrong. So, but your fasting is correct, even though you were not conscious the whole of the day. But as long as the reason why you're not conscious is sleep, then your fasting is correct. لأن النوم لا يزول به الإحساس بالكلية, because sleeping does not, because the level of losing consciousness with sleep is not like that of madness and somebody who faints at all. وهو في حكم المنتبه لكونه ينتبه إذا نبه ويجد الألم في حال نومه وبه يظهر الفرق بينه وبين من زال عقله بجنون أو إغماء. Because sleeping is different from madness and faint, and somebody who faints, in terms of how much of consciousness did they lose. And also, if the Sharia puts sleep in that in the list of in the same level as madness and fainting, that if a person sleep from morning till night and they have intention of fasting, as long as they have the intention that their fasting is going to be accepted. If they put sleeping as part of it, you can't imagine millions of Muslims that won't have fast. Because some people, after they eat Salat al-Fajr, especially if they don't have work to do, they go and sleep until what? Maybe 1 hour to Fajr to Maghrib. And this we have to correct. We have to pay attention to it. Are you following me, everybody?
Yes.
These we have to pay attention to it. Fasting comes with a lot of things, but that should not rob us of the normal thing of other obligations, such as salah. Because you are fasting is not because fasting itself, Ramadan is a pillar of Islam. Salah is a pillar of Islam. So how would you be doing fasting and you are missing out salah? So this is something we have to watch. We have to pay attention to. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to do everything that gives us perfect reward and so much reward bi'idhnillah ta'ala. However, even though this person who sleeps the whole of the day and did not pray, even though we said his fasting is correct, however, this person has sinned as well because they have left salah in the right time. So a person who has fainted now and did not wake up the whole of the day from the Fajr time till the sunset. So this person only have to what? Repay their fast after Ramadan. Now, they said, the scholars make two different things. The scholars, they differentiate between the person who has fainted the whole of the day and also the person who run mad the whole of the day. They differentiate between two things. In this situation we want to talk about now. In the situation of are they going to repay it back or not? Now they said a person who has fainted from the Fajr time, which the fasting has started, till the sunset, and did not wake up at all. We already established the fact that the person does not have a fast. But should this person repay the fast back? Yes, they should repay the fast back. However, a person who ran mad from immediately before they call the Salatul Fajr, when we can no longer eat again, until sunset, the whole of the day of that fasting day, they run mad. Should this person repay back the fast? Who can think and bring an answer on this?
Yes. The question again? Yes, they should.
Why should the person repay back the fast?
Because their sickness is they're no longer sick where they cannot fast anymore, okay. So they have to pay it back.
I like that because I like the fact that you think in one direction. That's a great one. Barakallahu fikum. Now, this person, the scholar said, this person who was never conscious from the beginning of the fasting day, from the first point of the fasting till the last point of the fasting during the sunset, due to madness, this person would not repay back the fast. Why? Did you remember one of the conditions that make fasting compulsory? The person must be a Muslim. The person must be
of age, and then
must have reached the age of puberty, and also this person must what? Must be mentally stable. Now, a person who is a mad person, they said for that day, the person has loses one of the conditions that make fasting compulsory. Is that clear? Therefore, fasting of that day is not compulsory for that person, so they don't have to repay it back. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So that person, the same way a child who became, or the same way a child who reached the age of puberty, a child who is a Muslim, who is mentally fit, and also who has the ability to fast. However, the only condition missing is that the child has not reached the age of puberty. So fasting is not compulsory upon them yet, even though we might be telling them to fast to prepare themselves, what we used to do for the young children. However, fasting is not compulsory upon that child yet. The compulsory fast, which means if the child does not fast in Ramadan, it is not sinful. Why? Because it is not compulsory in the first place. However, now, from 1st till 15th of Ramadan, this child has not reached the age of puberty. In the night of the 16th of Ramadan, in the night after we have broken the fast of 15th of Ramadan, in the night, this child slept and saw wet dreams, which means he has reached the age of what? Puberty. Which means from the 16th of Ramadan, fasting has become what upon that child?
Compulsory.
Compulsory. Now, do we say that? Are we going to say this child has to repay the fast he has missed from the 1st till 15th?
No.
Would we say that? We won't say that. So why won't we say that?
Because it wasn't compulsory upon him the first.
Exactly, because fasting was never compulsory upon the child. The same thing for a mad person who loses his consciousness due to madness. Because why do we differentiate this from a person who fainted? Because fainting is different from madness. It's like 3 levels now. Sleep is the first level. The first level, you have your consciousness up to 80% or 90%. You have your mental consciousness up. Also, fainting, you have your consciousness up to maybe 50%. But madness, you don't have it at all. You are not yourself at all. So that is loss of mental stability in its totality. So in this case now, a mad person, Salah is not compulsory for them, fasting is not compulsory, Hajj is not compulsory. So the same thing, a person who loses his mental state due to madness, before the Fajr of that day when fasting is going to start, and the madness continued until the sunset of that day when fast stops, and this person is not going to repay the fast because this person lived that day in missing one of the conditions of which fast becomes compulsory on a person. Is this clear, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now we understand the difference between why we said somebody who fainted the whole of the day and did not wake up at all is going to repay the fast. However, somebody who run mad the whole of the day and did not regain consciousness at all, this person will not what? If the person wake up during the day, mashallah, as long as the person has the intention, the fast is going to be accepted. However, if the person does not wake up at all, the mad person does not regain consciousness at all till the end of the day, then this person is not going to repay the fast because that day was lived as somebody who fasting was not compulsory upon. Any question, everybody?
No.
Now, there are some things we need to talk about with regards to the intention of fasting. وفي نية الصيام مسائل الأولى المسألة الأولى, the first thing we need to talk about with regards to the intention of fasting is حكم النية في الصوم. What is the ruling of intention when it comes to fasting? Number one, we say النية في الصوم شرط قبول. Or like any other deed, intention is one of the what? intention is one of the conditions. And when we talk of intention, we are talking of what kind of intention, everybody?
Within yourself.
And when we talk of when we say intention is a condition. When we say intention is a condition, one of the we have two conditions: an-niyya wal mutaba', intention and what, and conformity of an action with the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also with the Sharia generally. And when we say intention is one of the conditions of by which Allah accepts deed, what do we mean by intention? What kind of intention? A sincere intention, of course. Isn't that everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now intention is one of the conditions for the acceptance of a deed. وَلِذَلِكَ لِأَنَّهُ عِبَادة, because intention itself is an act of worship. وَالْعِبَادَاتُ لَا بُدَّ لَهَا مِنْ نِيَّةٍ, and act of worship, it is not impossible for act of worship to be done without an intention. كما في الحديث القدسي. Few seconds, please. All right, as I was saying, so intention is what? Intention is a condition is one of the conditions for accepting a deed. يُتْرَكُ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ وَشَهْوَتَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِهِ. Because in the Hadith al-Qudsi, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was praising the fasting people, Allah said, يُتْرَكُ طَعَامَهُ يَتْرُكُ طَعَامَهُ. He leaves his food, his drink, and he leaves his need for intimate relations because of me, Allah. So that means there is an intention. The reason why you left all those things, you abstained from all those things, was because of something of Allah. So intention comes there. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizing on the intention that, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recognizing a person's fast, a person abstinence from food, from drink, from intimate relations. Allah is recognizing that acts of abstinence because it is attached to Allah, because it was because of Allah. So this is Allah recognizing the place of intention. ثم إذا كان الصوم فرضا. Now there's a difference between how intention works when it comes to a compulsory fasting like Ramadan, or fasting which you swear by Allah that you are going to do. That becomes compulsory upon you as well. And also a fasting which is not Ramadan, which is Sunnah. ثم إذا كان الصوم فرضا فالنية واجبة فيه باتفاق العلماء. Now, if a fasting is compulsory, if it is a compulsory fasting, then intention is compulsory, unanimously agreed upon by all the scholars. فلا يجوز صوم رمضان إلا بنية. Then fasting Ramadan is not going to be correct except you have the intention to fast Ramadan. وإن كان الصوم نفلا فيأتي بيانه. However, if the fasting is not a compulsory fasting, is a nafila, it's a voluntary fasting, then the intention, is it compulsory or not compulsory? We are still going to come to that inshallah later. Another thing we want to look at, waqtu niyya lis-siyam fawr. When is it compulsory for a person to have an intention when they want to fast, the fasting, a compulsory fasting? When must you have the intention?
By Fajr time.
When now, good. وقت النية من الليل فلا بد أن يبيت النية من الليل ولا تجوز قبله. So now, for a compulsory fasting like Ramadan, then the intention must have preceded from the night before the day. So from the night, then the intention must have preceded that. Tonight, you have the intention, tomorrow I am fasting Ramadan. What dalil? And what is the dalil of that? What is the evidence? Hadith of Hafsa marfu'an. The hadith of Hafsa radiyallahu anha, which the chain of transmission reached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, says, "Man lam yujmi' as-siyama qabla al-fajr fala siyama lahu. Wa fi lafzin min al-layl." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever does not intend his fasting before Fajr, or in another narration, since the night before, then there will not be fast for the person. So the latest time at which you can have your intention, you can delay your intention to, is before the Fajr of that day of fasting. So, like for example, now the what is it called? The Fajr sets by 5 o'clock. Anything from 4:59 downwards till the night of the day before, the night before that day, then that is the time of the intention. Is that clear now, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, قوله لا نية للفرضية لا يجب أن ينوي أن يصوم فرضا وذلك لأنه إذا نوى صوم رمضان فمعلوم أنه فرض والواجب لا يكون إلا فرضا ويجب we have missed a place. That's why I'm surprised that now ويجب تعيين النية من الليل لصوم كل واجب. Now we said it is compulsory to have intention a night before, since a night before, for each day of Ramadan, which means every night you have to have your intention that tomorrow I'm fasting. Even though some scholars argue that, well, the norm for a Muslim is that once Ramadan is coming, you have the intention that you are fasting the whole of Ramadan. So it wouldn't be needed that you want to, say every night I have to, I remember and reinstate my intention to fast tomorrow. Because once Ramadan is coming, our Muslim knows that generally automatically I'm fasting either 29 or 30. I will help her to be on the safer side and also to go with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that stated that clearly. We said that it is compulsory that a person reinstates their intention every night of Ramadan. Every night of Ramadan to today, for example, the first night that the moon has been sighted, we have to reinstate your intention. Tomorrow I am fasting. The following night, tomorrow I'm fasting. The following until the crescent of Shawwal has been sighted, then you don't have an intention because tomorrow of that day is gonna be what? It's gonna be Eid. No. And we said the intention, an-niyya, intention, al-azm. Intention is a determination that you have in your mind, your heart. Al-azima al-sawm, the determination that I am fasting. And we said mahalluha and qalb. What do I say? Why am I saying al-intention? Subhanallah. An-niyya, intention, the place of an intention is what? Is the heart. And what talaffudhu biha, the scholar said bid'ah. Saying it out and saying nawaitu sawma, tomorrow's this was never a thing that was witnessed during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also, there is no particular word for intention. So you only have to have the determination that I want to do this thing tomorrow. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that your intention as what? Your intention has been emphasized like that. Are you following me, everybody?
Yes.
ويصح النفل ويصح النفل بنية من النهار قبل الزوال وبعد. Now we have talked about the intention of what is the place of the intention of a compulsory fasting. A compulsory fasting like Ramadan, the intention must be made anytime from the night. Anytime from the night before the day until before the Fajr of that day. For example, today is Sunday. They make an announcement that tomorrow Monday is Ramadan, which means anytime from the night of Sunday till before the Fajr of Monday tomorrow, then your intention must be made. For it is compulsory in that situation for a fast which is compulsory like Ramadan. What about a fast which is not compulsory, like Mondays and Thursdays, Ayyamul Bid, and so on and so forth? يصح النفل بنية من النهار قبل الزوال وبعد. Then it is correct, it is permissible. Your fast is deemed correct and acceptable as long as you have the intention, even if you have the intention before the sun, من النهار قبل الزوال, before the time of Zuhr, before the Zawal, before the sun shifts from the is it meridian, they call it, from the middle, or after that, which means before or after Zuhr, before or after Salatul Zuhr, any time between that time, you can have your intention. So it is not compulsory for you to have the intention of Monday and Thursday fast or any nafila fast since a night before. You can have it during the day. Are you getting me?
Yes.
بالنسبة للنية في الصوم النفل لا يلزم أن تكون من الليل. It is not compulsory. It is not a condition that you have to have the intention of the fasting of nafila a night before. بل تجزئ في النهار. So if you have it during the day, سواء كان ذلك قبل الزوال أو بعد, regardless if it is before Salatul Dhuhr, the time of Dhuhr, or after the time of Zuhr, if it's either of these two times that you made your determination that I am fasting today, then it is regarded as fasting. لأنه أدرك جزءا من النهار وهو ناوٍ للصوم, because you have witnessed a part of the day whereby you have the intention of fasting. Bishart, although there is a condition, a very important condition that will make that your intention or determination to fast, that will make it an acceptable one. And that is the condition of ألا يكون قبل النية قد ركع في شيء من المفترات. That is the most important condition. As lenient as the Sharia is when it comes to voluntary fasting with regards to the intention, that you can have the intention during the day, but the Sharia puts a very important condition. This is before you have the intention, anytime you want to have the intention during the day, as long as before you have that intention, you have not fall into anything. You haven't fell into anything that normally breaks a fast. You haven't eaten, you haven't drank anything, you haven't involved in any intimate relations, and so on and so forth. So on and so forth. And also other things which are contemporary things, which the scholars have counted under the things that break fast. And what is the evidence for that? The Prophet ﷺ, from the hadith of Aisha, دخل ذات يوم على أهلي. Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, the Prophet ﷺ, he entered the house one day and he asked, هل هندكم شيء؟ فقلنا لا قال فإني إذا صائم. The Prophet ﷺ entered the house of one of his household during the day and he asked, do you have something here to eat? And they said, no, we don't have anything to eat. فَإِنِّي إِذًا صَائِمٌ. And the Prophet ﷺ said, then talk. Since you don't have anything, since there's nothing to eat, then I will just change it. I will just, change it to, I will just have an intention of fasting and spend the whole of the day fasting. So here we understood that سواء كانت النية قبل الزوال أو بعد, if the intention is made during the day as long as you are intending to fast a nafila and you haven't done anything that usually breaks fast before that intention time, then you are accepted, your intention is accepted as fasting. Let's pick an important lesson here. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet of Allah, he got to his household and asked them, do you have something we can eat? And they said, no, there is nothing. And you could say, maybe there is nothing because they choose not to, buy something at all. No, because other situation made us realize that it was never rosy in the house of the Prophet ﷺ when it comes to food and provisions and all that. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have said this in different occasions. There have been occasions whereby the companions, due to the pangs of hunger, they used to tie stone in their stomach. And they did that on an occasion, and they got to a point they can no longer persevere. So they went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to complain and ask if he has something to give them at home as well. When they got to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they met something more surprising than what they expected. What did they meet? They found out that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself has stones tied in his stomach. Alayhi salatu wassalam. That tells us how much difficulty it was during that time. And that tells us that having so much money, having the whole of the world, is never an indication that Allah loves you. It's not an indication that Allah is pleased with you. Look at the Prophet whom Allah loved the most, whom Allah is pleased with the most. Look at the situation of his provisions. Look at what he had. Almost nothing. Alayhi salatu wassalam. So when you have everything rosy for you, don't think that, oh, we are the one Allah loves. We are the one Allah pleased with. No. The most poor person in your community could be the most beloved one to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just that is not the peak of the blessing Allah does for a person. Anything Allah does for a person in this world, even if you own the whole of this world to yourself, one day you're going to die and everything is going to be what? Is going to be back on. Everything is going to be, in the past. What if you have nothing to yourself on the day of judgment? So the most important thing is what? Is the life after death. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive each and every one of us and to bless us. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Anyone has a question before we finish, inshallah?
No.
All right. Barakallahu feekum jami'an. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Time for salah. Everybody should go and pray, and make sure you pray in the first row. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.